What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone's having a good day and a good start to your weekend. So as you can see, Terrifier 3 is back to making headlines once again. It just seems like every other week or every week there's one more thing or there's one additional thing to add to the winner column for Terrifier 3 since its theatrical release. Like we've mentioned before many times, between the success at the theater, the physical releases, the steel books, the ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange, video games, merchandise, and now we knew this was coming. It was just a matter of when they were finally going to release it, because I do believe this is, again, I do believe it's on the physical media copy. I'm not sure. Anyone who has the physical media copy can check me on that and drop a comment in the comments section. Let me know if this documentary is there. But if it's not and you have SCREAMBOX, that's where you can find it. So feature-length Terrifier 3 making of documentary, now streaming exclusively on SCREAMBOX. So if you don't have SCREAMBOX, I scanned this article briefly, and they are running, because of this release, they are running a short deal if you don't have it. And I'm just, again, just to be clear, I have nothing to do with that deal. I get no kickbacks on it. I'm just simply saying what's in the article. If you don't have it, you might want to take advantage of it. So it's just more of an FYI, passing along the information. But what we are going to do, there is a 10-minute piece of the documentary that has been uploaded to YouTube. That's part of this article. So we are going to pull that up. We are going to watch probably a few minutes of it, maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes of it, just to get an idea of the flow of it. But we're not going to watch the whole thing, just simply from a copyright perspective, right? I don't want to play a full 10-minute clip from the documentary, one, because it's an additional 10 minutes to this, but also just to respect any copyrights that might come along with the documentary. And just to, I'm sure they want to have people go over to SCREAMBOX and watch the full thing. So I will, though, put the link for this article in the description of this video. So if you want to go check out and watch the full 10-minute clip taken from the documentary, you can do so. All right, so let's pull this down. All right, so in addition to Damien Leone's box office record-breaking Terrifier 3, the bloody disgusting powered SCREAMBOX is now exclusively streaming home. Art Attack, the dissection of Terrifier 3, the only official making of documentary for the Christmas slasher sequel. The 98-minute documentary features insights from Damien Leone, David Howard Thornton, Lauren Levera, and many more members of the Terrifier 3 cast and crew, with Art Attack, exploring Art the Clown's cultural impact through exclusive interviews and behind-the-scenes footage from the entire Terrifier saga, and of course Terrifier 3 in particular. So I am glad to see that this isn't just a Terrifier focused, like Terrifier 3 focused documentary. I'm glad they are going to touch on the other two, because I haven't been, there's no secret about it for me. I found Terrifier 2 to be the best of the three films, at least for me. It's my favorite of the three films. Terrifier 3 had its moments, but I didn't necessarily like it fully. I thought it kind of went from, we know there's two camps, and we've talked about this. Damien's even come out and talked about this, especially how he's going to approach the final film, Terrifier 4, which he's already confirmed will be the final film for this franchise. I'm sure, though, depending upon how much money it makes, there could be spin-offs. They could say, oh, now we're going to do a Terrifier 5, right? So I'm sure money's going to play into that potentially. But he's even come out and said there were two camps that formed from Terrifier 3, the gore camp, who wanted more gore, and then the story camp, who wanted enjoyed the gore, but wanted a little bit more story, wanted the story to be kind of fleshed out just a little bit. So obviously he's mentioned he's gonna have to try to find that balance for the next one. Granted, you can't make everyone happy, but understanding that there was this kind of split amongst the fan base when Terrifier 3 came out. So, and I was one of those. Again, I enjoy the gore, but I thought the story for Terrifier 3 just didn't hit as well for me as Terrifier 2 story did. Damien Leone's Terrifier 3 was released in theaters this past October by Cineverse and Bloody Disgusting, becoming the highest grossing non-rated movie in the history of cinema. Art the Clown's Christmas Massacre scared up an incredible 53 domestically and 90 million worldwide. I'm sure they meant to say 53 million domestically. Solidifying the killer clown as one of the big-time horror icons of the modern era. Within Art Attack, you'll find exclusive footage from the set of Terrifier 3 that has never before been released, and you'll find the doc streaming now only on BD's SCREAMBOX. I think, yeah, so down here is where it mentions if you don't have SCREAMBOX, you can get the first, right now, with this code that they have in this article, you can get the first 3 months for $2.99. Again, I have nothing to do with this deal that they're offering. I'm just simply sharing the news on this documentary, so making sure everyone's aware that it's out there, especially for fans who may not have SCREAMBOX but are fans of the Terrifier franchise and specifically Terrifier 3. This is where you can go get it. Again, based on how that last bit read back up here, as far as the only place where this documentary is it back up here? The only official making of documentary. So I'm not sure again if this is on the physical release or not, and it may not be. It might just be on the SCREAMBOX streaming platform. Then we have here, as far as how the documentary came about, who's all involved, who's bringing it to us, and then right here, preview the documentary by watching a 10-minute exclusive sneak peek below. And don't forget that you can also stream Terrifier 2 and 3 on SCREAMBOX now. And then, yeah, so then here's the link right here to the YouTube video, which we're going to pull up now. And then, again, we're gonna play just a couple minutes of it. I might pause it here and there just to give my opinion, but we will not watch the full 10 minutes simply just because of the length. And again, I wanna make sure there's no copyright issues. So, all right, so we're gonna pull up this 10-minute sneak peek into this documentary and see what they're providing us.
Art the Clown's a huge part of Terrifier's success.
Ultimately, I think it is the charisma of the character and the humor, and a lot of that comes from David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown.
I mean, like that grin, that white, pale face, like everybody looks at that and there's a little bit of like uneasiness to him, because it's funny because a lot of people hate clowns.
So the amazing thing about Art is that we don't have to do much to promote him. He promotes himself.
Starring, I'll just say it, horror's newest icon, Art the Clown.
I was lucky that face really resonated with people. But again, I think it's just classic imagery that we're very familiar with, that's ingrained in us.
So I'm curious to know what people think. So drop a comment in the comment section. They've mentioned this in the article. They've just mentioned this now a couple times. Obviously, another individual out there, a content creator, mentioning that Art the Clown is the next horror icon. I mean, I don't know if he's gotten to that point yet. I mean, Terrifier. I mean, thinking about Terrifier 1 and 2. Yes, they made a significant amount more money than their budget, but I don't think Art the Clown nor the Terrifier series was very well known broadly outside the cult following, and maybe outside a little bit more beyond that, a very small fan base that came across this. Because I can tell you, outside of the people that I know who enjoy horror, who enjoy the Terrifier series, the average going horror viewer or the average horror viewer didn't know who Art the Clown was until Terrifier 3. And yes, Terrifier 3 from a financial perspective was very successful. And I think that financial success and having a broad worldwide release gave him the light, so to speak, the notoriety to get out there and be viewed by many more people, not just the cult following and not just, again, a little bit broader outside of that following, the smaller fan base. So you have the general horror fan audience being now fully exposed to the series and Art the Clown. So this being their first time seeing this and loving the gore factor, I think that's, again, another reason why it was so successful. But I don't know if I would necessarily say he is the next or is the current horror icon. I think it would take a bit more for him to claim that title, and that's just my opinion. So
really like him. You want to see who he is.
Art the Clown is very violent and vicious, and he goes crazy, cold-blooded. Loves killing for fun. I think that's what makes him very, very scary.
I love the villain. I think most people love the villain. They're just interesting. They're iconic looking.
There was something about Art the Clown that was very captivating, eerie and creepy, and there was just something there that I couldn't, keep my eyes off it. The way the character looked, you just know that he has that iconic look, just like what everybody's looking for in like a slasher film that can be remembered.
He's bordering between comedic relief and then a scary villain, but his timing and that dichotomy is, I would say, almost perfect, because otherwise he's laughable. If he's too funny, he's not scary, and then if he's too scary, he's not.
Well, and so I want to touch on that bit. That's my problem with Terrifier 3, is I felt like there were times where they were trying to make him a bit too funny, and that took away from how scary he's supposed to be, how vicious he's supposed to be, even though within 5-10 minutes of whatever comedic relief they were putting into the character in that particular scene or scenes, they would try to follow it up with him, taking out or murking those individuals that were involved. But that's where I found Terrifier 3 to be vastly different than 1 and 2. Yes, like this scene here from Terrifier 2, this is my favorite scene. When she's standing there and he comes up and honks this horn, and even though she knows he's there, it still scares her and she still jumps. Now, I find that slightly humorous, but I didn't feel like Terrifier 1 and 2 had inserted a bunch of humor that took away from the scariness of Art the Clown. Now, Terrifier 3, I felt did. Terrifier 3, I felt there was just too much comic relief put into him. And then it felt like, well, wait a minute. I'm feeling like he's not as scary as he should be in these scenes or overall in this film when I compare him to how he was in the first 2 films. So, yeah, again, just my opinion.
Not compelling because he doesn't have that two side of each coin.
It's a clown that's like supposed to be doing funny things, but he's doing funny things in a murderous way.
And it's one of the reasons why people fall in love with this character. They love how much fun this character's having doing what he's doing, and they love to laugh and have fun with this character at the same time.
Art the Clown!
To me, he's like an embodiment of all the great horror icons that came before him. He enjoys what he's doing. He's doing these horrible, sadistic things, but he's having fun. He is such a fun character. I have a blast playing him, especially in this latest film.
And I can't wait to see where Damien Leone's twisted brain takes us next.
All right, so that's just that's just a sneak peek into this sneak peek of the SCREAMBOX Terrifier 3 documentary that's out there on SCREAMBOX right now. Again, so that was roughly almost four minutes of the 10-minute sneak peek that they're giving us online. Again, I don't want to show the full thing, just simply from a copyright perspective. But I will put the link again of this article in the description of this video below. So if you want to watch the rest of the roughly 6.5-7 minutes of that video, you can do so. But then always go out there on SCREAMBOX and check out the full documentary. So I think we don't have any news yet on Terrifier 4 as far as a plan as to date, when Damien plans to have a script done, go into production, when they plan to get this into theaters. I mean, I think it's fair to say we're already mid-March. I don't think it's going to happen this year. If anything, it probably won't happen till at least 2026. And then depending upon if they decide to do another holiday-themed Terrifier, depending upon what holiday they pick, will obviously depend upon when it releases. I can't imagine they're going to do another Christmas one. I would prefer, they've already done a Halloween one, so unless they do one earlier on in the year where that's a Valentine's Day one, so we would get it sometime obviously in February, within that first week or two ahead of Valentine's Day, or they just happen to drop it on Valentine's Day weekend. Because Valentine's Day this year fell on a Friday, so I would assume Valentine's Day next year falls on a Saturday, so maybe they release Terrifier 4 with a Valentine's Day theme on February, Friday the 13th, which I think might be a perfect date to release this. That'd be the Friday the 13th in February on Valentine's Day weekend, and you do a Valentine's Day themed Terrifier 4, this being the final film. That might be just the stars aligning to release this film. So anyways, that's going to do it for this horror news update. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about the continuous winnings for Terrifier 3. If you're not even interested in this franchise, if it was just a bit over the top for you, still let us know down in the comment section. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we will see you at the next one. Peace.